every one of your employees has two agendas at the same time. Do you know both of them?
Welcome to It Doesn't Take a Genius.
Ramsey!
Marshall, so good to see you again. I hope you don't mind. I feel like every episode here lately I have some visual weird thing happening, like I'm wearing headphones or a scarf. Or this time I'm using my laptop camera, my Apple camera, and it follows me. The camera loves me, Mike. Hope that's not too distracting.
Yeah, your new director of cinematography is doing a fabulous job. Yeah, your cameraman, I don't know what you're paying him, but worth every penny.
Worth every penny.
The dramatic close-ups. Dun, dun, dun.
A lot of, very slow close-ups that get a little, like, they're not quite the French close-up, but they're, like, uncomfortably close to my face. But, hey, that's what we have today, so we'll run with it. I want to talk today about a really powerful distinction to make from the book, Coactive Coaching. I refer to it often. I think we've talked about it on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. And I went back and looked, and I'm shocked that we haven't done an episode on this yet, but we haven't. And it's come up several times recently. And it's the idea that every employee, every person who's undergoing coaching has a little A agenda and a big A agenda. And we want to help managers understand.
The A is not what you think it is.
I knew that's where you were going to go with this.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah, your little A and your big A. Well, Mark will clear this up for you.
Yeah. We want to just show you how there's a deeper agenda running in the background. So why don't I just go ahead and peel back the curtain and talk about these two agendas? Yeah. So here we go. The little A agenda, a little more surface. It's the thing that your person says they want to work on, probably on the tactical side, right? They have a goal. There are actions that they'll want to take. There might be some accountability they'll need to get there. I want to sell more cars, right? And notice it's kind of a what that we're trying to get done right now, right? Like by a certain date, we'd like to have that done. It's something we're doing. That's the little A agenda. And I would say you and I have that revealed to us all the time by all of our clients. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say?
Not hard to uncover, right?
Nope.
Instead of the little A agenda, we could just call it Mr. Obvious.
Right.
Right. This is the obvious agenda. Right. The goals, the actions, the activities, the complaints, the obstacles. Right. Here's the thing that's getting in the way of me, achieving my goals and things like that. Just a very typical coaching conversation about what's right up front, what's right there. Usually, a lot of times there's reports, right? Yep. And they have the little A agenda stuff, the data that supports the little A agenda conversation. It's obvious from the numbers, right? Here's what's going on. And let's talk about, what we want to change and what are the activities that will change that could change these numbers on the reports. You almost can't avoid the little A conversation.
Totally.
If you're in a business setting and you sit down, everybody assumes that's what you want to talk about.
That's exactly it. And we have clients who hire us for that. We want to move this sales number. We want to move this employee retention number. We want to move this customer satisfaction number. And okay, so that's what we're working on, right? And here's where the big A agenda shows its head, right? Because there's something deeper. There's something that's like a driver for what you're looking to get out of life, if you will. The what was achieving that numeric target, that thing that we're measuring on the report, but there's a why behind that. And it often has to do with something that is a little closer to personal identity, whether that sounds touchy-feely or not, right? The person is wanting to become somebody. They're looking to be living a certain way, have a certain way of life. it will have meaning and fulfillment to them. It's something that they're chasing, even if they're not aware of it themselves. That's the crazy part, is that the big A agenda is down below the surface, sometimes even to them. And I will say, Mike, I would hazard to guess, I don't know, what would be your percentage of how many of our clients eventually go there with us and say, well, we ask, we want to find this stuff out, but not everybody wants to reveal it. But I would say, what, 80%? You think that's fair?
I would think it's also, there's a time factor to it.
Yep.
So I would say, yeah, we get to 80% within 3 to 4 sessions.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I would say upper 90% if we go longer than that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, you don't get it the first or second time you sit down with them. It's all little A agenda stuff. Yes,
Right.
We're trying to achieve customer retention rates of 72%.
Yep.
Our customer satisfaction score is currently 68. We want to get it to 73. Right, you have all these, superficial or obvious business conversations, and then it's about the third or fourth visit, they start talking about, the meaning behind the work.
Yeah.
What this means to me, the why, what I ultimately want to be, my life goals, family goals, things like that. All of a sudden, that starts to come out. It may come out sooner if there's trust and there's an issue.
Yep.
So we've found that, and we tell our coaches all the time, the people that are their leaders that we're trying to teach the coaching skills to, we tell them all the time that 80-90% of the time, if there's a performance problem, it's not work related.
Yeah. 100%.
And they're like, huh? And then they go in and they ask a few questions, which I think you've got some great questions, examples for us coming up. But they'll go in and ask a question, hey, what's really going on? Seems like something's bothering you. And then all of a sudden they get like some, personal life stuff.
Yep.
And they'll come back and they'll be like, well, you didn't tell me that was going to happen. like, yeah, the dude started crying. like I didn't sign up for this, And so, yeah, the big A agenda, for many managers, they want to keep it little a, and when lo and behold, there's tremendous motivation or lack of motivation in what's going on with the big A.
100%. And by the way, it doesn't just have to be a clever question or wait 4 months for trust to be built. Sometimes it really is just listening. You will meet so many people in your employee base who don't have anybody doing that in their life. They just don't have anybody who actually sits and listens to what they're thinking and saying. And in many cases, that's, some of the stuff you'll hear them say, I don't know why I'm telling you this. And then they'll just start telling you stuff. But often it's because you've shown you're listening by asking follow-up questions and looking them in the eye and making the right noises and reactions at the right time when they tell you something hard has happened or something amazing has happened. They want to tell you more. They really do. People like to talk to people who understand or they feel like are getting to know them. The reason we're bringing this up, because obviously we're talking right now about our clients, but this matters for managers who want to use a coach approach with their employees. This is a as you pointed out, this is a little bit of a game changer to unlocking motivation, because they are coming with the big A agenda, even if they only talk about the little A agenda. So it's there, whether or not you like it, whether or not you surface it, it's there. And so you can focus on the little A, and maybe some people are going to prefer that. They want to keep it transactional, keep it sort of short term, but if you'll connect on the big A agenda, now we're talking about something that could be really transformative for this person in their personal growth, let alone their career growth or their productivity and the numbers they hit and so on and so forth. So they're going to stay motivated longer when that daily work links to who they are becoming. So
Oh,
why wouldn't we want to go there?
oh yeah, yeah. The idea that how many times have we heard a manager say, "I don't get that guy." I
Right.
don't. I don't understand him.
Yeah.
Right. I don't understand what she's thinking. I don't understand why they're not fill in the blank. Right, doing
Yep.
some behavior. And it reminds me of the Carlin George Carlin quote: "Those who dance are considered insane by those who can't hear the music."
There it is.
And so if you don't know the big A, the why behind why people are or aren't doing some little a activities, it looks, as the manager, as their leader, it looks insane. Like,
Right.
why wouldn't everybody make their follow-up calls? Why wouldn't everybody want to talk to the customers? Why wouldn't everybody grab the phone? Why would,
Yep.
they just go on, and it's like, well, there's a reason. Everybody does or doesn't do something for a reason. It only looks crazy because you don't know their reason.
That's it. I'll tell you a quick story. I've had a manager, a low-level manager, who I find very pleasant. Really enjoy the guy, and have had conversations with him over the years. But I knew he wasn't very motivated in his job. I don't think he thought it was that big of a deal. So it wasn't that he was a bad employee. He just didn't seem all that engaged with the work, right? So I walk into a meeting. This has been maybe 2 weeks ago. I was actually walking into a conference room thinking that I was the only one there. Well, there's a meeting going on, and it's sort of this real high-level task force. And that manager was in the room. It was like only 4 people had been tapped for this team. He was one of the 4 people, and he was the most animated conversationalist I've ever seen him. I mean, it was like he had been turned on. And I haven't had the chance yet to sit down and talk with him, but I did talk to the team leader, and I said, I thought he wasn't really plugged into the work. And he says, well, he's plugged into this work. And so there's a story there, right? Like somebody has figured out, well, like what turns your crank? What are the things you're wanting to accomplish? And now he's really engaged in the work. That's the kind of thing. You can be writing somebody off, figure out the big A agenda, and go way deeper with that person and get more out of them, if you want to put it in that phrase. But we're really talking about transforming that person too, right? It's good for both parties. So that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, life becomes so much easier when you understand the big A.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, as the leader, and sometimes helping the other person understand what their big A is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you ask a question and people go, I hadn't thought about that.
100%.
And then they come back a week later and go, I've thought about that. And here's what's going on. And here's why I do or don't do what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, let's work on that if you want to.
It's powerful when you get the chance. So let's talk about some key questions to surface that big A agenda. And my favorite one is just, it's very simple. Just they tell you what their little A agenda is, and you say, cool, what'll that get you?
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell you something, right? I want to grow my sales to 100. Cool. What'll that get you? Well, then we'd be number 1 in the city. What'll that get you? Right? There's a follow-up to that. Well, I am driven by, I got this vision that a bunch of my peers really respect the work I've done, or I've got a team of people. I want to see them on the podium. I want to see them celebrating with me. There's something deeper for them. I want to show that I can do this. I got to prove to myself that I can do it. I did it somewhere else. I want to do it here. And again, you can just keep asking this question forever. What'll that get you? What'll that get you? What'll that get you? And each time it's going a little deeper into what makes that person really tick. What are the things that really turn them around? So that's one of my questions.
Oh yeah, no, that's fabulous. The idea that there is a deeper why behind it, and our goal is to figure out what that is. So that's a great question. What's another question?
All right. Another one is, what do you want your life to be like? What do you want your life to be like? Now, different people will take this different ways. Sometimes they're thinking work life, but sometimes they're thinking about personal life. They're thinking about Yes, I do want to make more money because I'd like to get married. Or they're thinking about, I am taking too much work home. I do want to improve my time management because I want a home life. So the home stuff will come in even on the work stuff. But you're asking them to define a little more what they want to be like instead of what they want to do. So that's another one of the questions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Somebody tells you like like you said, I want to be number one in the region. Wow. So what about that's most important to you?
Yes, that's a great one.
Oh, well, it's most important because, it demonstrates my mastery of the craft. I think it'll get me noticed by so and so, and I ultimately could lead to me becoming this position.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh,
exactly.
That's cool. Then you hit them with the why question. All right, so why is attaining that position important to you? Oh, wow. That now you right.
Oh,
You get all sorts of really good stuff. Right?
Absolutely.
The emotional drivers behind the behavior.
And again, on all these questions, pay attention to the tone, the change in the tone of voice, the change in the pace of how they're talking. There's all sorts of different, I guess you could call it tells, that you're really hitting pay dirt here on something that really is core to this person. Another one, it's sort of asking, what is the core? Who are you becoming through this work? Who are you becoming through this change that you're hoping to make? And you'll hear people talk about this. They want to be a leader, right? They've seen themselves as a leader, or they want to be somebody that the whole team depends on, or they fill in the blank, right? These are things that are core to their identity, and they want to become that. A related one, what's going on when you are most energized? I've heard it put different ways, right? What makes you feel most alive? What makes you feel most fulfilled? What's present when you are the most energized? Again, just trying to tap into what are the things under there that really are hardwired into the DNA of this person, and this is who they are. That's the key, is the difference between their being, and the things that they're doing. So we're trying to get to the being, because if we can work on that, that's something way more important to the person than just some exterior action that they do or accomplishment that they have.
Oh, absolutely. And how many times have we heard managers just come out of a meeting like that and just go, "Whoa, I get them." Like the puzzle, that last puzzle piece was missing. You put that in, and now my picture of this person is now complete.
That's totally it.
It's like I get why they do it, why they don't do it, what's motivating to them, what their bigger, longer term goals are, and and even a question like that, right? The old interview question: where do you see yourself in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
Only instead of in an interview, you're asking it from a sincere point of curiosity. And then
I think that's underneath all of this, right? Is that you have to genuinely have an interest in the people for this to work. Otherwise, it does maybe sound a little manipulative. But if you really care about who this person's becoming and what they're about, these are great questions to ask. This unlocks a whole new level of personal development for both of you. Both of you.
Absolutely.
Just an example of what this might look like. This is just sort of a random example, sort of compiling a bunch of different versions of this that I've heard over the years. But let's say somebody comes to me and says, I want to improve my presentation skills before the next big team meeting. Cool, right? Well, what'll that get you, right? Who do you want to become as a leader when you're in that presentation? And what may bubble up from that is, instead of my ambition is to be the next general manager of this company and I want to look really good in front of it may not be that at all. It might be I want to be like my first boss. They so inspired me. They were my favorite boss I ever worked for. That's the kind of boss I want to be. See, there's your tell, right? When they say things like, that's what I want to be, when they say be instead of do, you're probably on the path of something that's a little more core. So, sure, we'll work on that presentation skill you wanted to work on, but now you've got so much more motivation. You know that it's a stepping stone to something bigger than what you are now. And so you're way more willing to work on it, and you're going to have more success with it. So that's just an example of how this might play out in real life.
Oh, yeah. When somebody tells you they want something, they want to be more or do more, and they're specific about it, asking some sort of drill down question to find out, okay, so what is it about that's meaningful to you, or some question along that line, all of a sudden, yeah, all right, so they've demonstrated something's going on. There's a passion, there's a drive. Your goal is to understand what is the passion or drive, what's driving that. So yeah, yes. By asking just one question, you can get to that.
So let's talk about practically applying it. And you and I have used Michael Bungay Stanier's work many, many times in training that we've done over the years, coaching we've done. And his advice is really good advice here, which is just sort of add one more question. Add one more question. And in this case, make it a big A question. Something such as what'll that get you? That just gets you down that path of, now I see what your motivations are a little better. Now, play this by ear. It might be that when they say something, you might ask, well, what will that get you? And then they say something and you say, well, what will that get you? It depends on the person of what's going to be appropriate, but just add one more question. And then once you've agreed on, what the person's going to do, they've made a commitment, you can say, how does this connect to who you're becoming as a leader, as a person, as an employee here, fill in the blank. And at all times, we say this a lot, but at all times, please don't be afraid of silence after you ask a question. And if the answer doesn't totally land for you and you think there's more there, ask, what else? Just there's nothing wrong with and what else. These are all Michael Bungay Stanier advice pieces. But all of that is, something that allows you to sort of ramp up trust with the person, ramp up accountability with the person. And it's something you can come back to as a result to say, I know you're working on becoming X. So, let's talk about how you're doing on getting there. And do we have an open relationship where you can lean on me to help you get there? Let's do some more coaching. That's a big part of this.
Oh, yeah. Reminds me of the quote, right? You can have everything that you want in life if you help those around you get what they want in life.
Yeah.
And so the idea of, figuring out what that is and going back to it periodically and tying it to, all right, so here's this thing, and I know it's outside of your comfort zone, but it directly relates to this bigger thing, this a big A item that I know you want to achieve.
That's it.
That's wow. So now they're I'm as the leader connecting opportunities to the big thing that drives me.
Yeah.
Man, how cool
you are
is that?
an ally.
Yeah.
Right? You're an ally.
I want to hang out with that guy.
Right, exactly. Now there are we've hinted at this a little bit, but we should definitely talk about sort of what to watch out for here. And it's that this can be emotional, right? You can have people that get a little weepy on you. You can have people that maybe even clam up if they realize whoa, this is way more than I thought I'd be sharing. Because it'll get deep, it'll get personal quickly when it happens, and so you got to be ready for that emotion and not act like it's weird when it happens. Just let it happen if it does. This is called being a grown-up. It's hard to do. A lot of tough guys really struggle with this. But if you're secure in yourself and care about the other person, they want to cry some happy tears about what's happening or cry about what they've uncovered about themselves. Man, let them. Be confident. Be don't just be a tough guy. Be a real man about it, and let this happen. But they may not want it to happen, and so you're going to gauge readiness on that. Right. Not every person's ready for those questions. And so, hey, if somebody deflects, you don't need to push on this. You're not trying to be their therapist. But but hey, sometimes you are going to need a therapist. You're going to need somebody to step in from HR or employee assistance programs, or maybe it is time for them to have some sort of professional, one of the helping professions step in and refer them to a counselor, therapist, or maybe a professional coach. So, the goal though is that it's the relationship, right? So you're the ally, you're the guy they want to hang out with. You're not the guy needling them, trying to get them to reveal secrets. Right? That's not the goal of this conversation. The goal of this conversation is, I just want to know what really you're trying to achieve. Deep down, who are you trying to become? If I know that, and you're comfortable with me knowing that, we can go a lot further, right? So, that's the boundary line.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And we've had so many managers, come back to us. And I remember we taught a manager, and what else?
Yep.
And he came back and he goes, well, don't ask that question.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? He says, well, I asked the guy what was going on. He gave me some superficial answer. And I said, and what else? And then he was telling me all about his marriage and his wife and his stuff, and it was distracting him from his work. And he says, I wasn't counting on any of that. He also admitted that, I said, there are two things. One, there's nothing you can do, right, but be a listening ear. And two, the guy started doing better at work, just having gotten that off his chest.
Yep.
He's like, I said, did performance, did the guy start doing better? Yep. Did you have to do anything? Nope. Except
listen
when it was emotional.
Yeah.
That was hard.
That's it. I mean,
that's good.
Really it.
This is a tough veteran manager, right?
Yeah.
This guy's been in the trenches for a while, but that one caught him off guard.
Yeah, and I know that there are going to be employees who maybe try to lean on this, and it's they constantly have drama and try to suck your energy away or deflect from the real issue, which is their performance or their lack of accountability or what have you. That's a different conversation. But we're talking about the folks that genuinely have something that's possibly emotional, definitely personal, and definitely worth striving for. And they will strive for it if you're willing to be there and let them sort of sort through that by being a listening ear who can ask the occasional powerful question, make the occasional insightful observation, and let them come to some new awareness and take action. We are eventually going to get to action. Don't worry. We're going to do some stuff, but we got to figure out what we're trying to be to get there most effectively and long term.
Oh, yeah. And the most powerful action is when the little A, the activities, the goals, things like that, align with the big A.
Yep.
And now there's nothing holding this person back. There's alignment between the stuff that's obvious and the stuff that's hidden. And so I just start to move forward and make progress.
Yep.
How cool is that?
A nice thing. A very nice thing. So that's what we've got for today.
All right, so let's get out there, and I would encourage you to grab a copy of Coactive Coaching.
Yeah, great book.
Right, and then take listen to a few of our other episodes where we talk about coaching and questions and things like that. That'll be wildly helpful for you. And then don't be afraid to genuinely make a real difference with the people that you lead. And sometimes it's just a great question.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't take a genius. Just takes a listening ear and a good question.
And there you have it. Another session of contemporaneous extemporizing from Mark and Mike. I know it's redundant, but consider who we're talking about. As always, feel free to share the ideas you heard here. No rights are reserved, no permissions needed. Thanks. See you next time on It Doesn't Take a Genius.
That's good enough.